Who are the top wide receivers for a Dynasty Startup League? If you're a serious Dynasty football player, you need to check us out on flockfantasy.com/endgame. That's where you'll have access all offseason long to our Dynasty rankings, bonus articles, Discord server, and a lot more. 30% off any subscription if you use our code ENDGAME. Check out the link down below. Again, this is a must for any serious Dynasty owner who wants to win. All right, let's get to it. Starting at number one, the top receiver in Dynasty, it's probably no surprise here, Justin Jefferson. Is there any way you can even justify not having him as the number one choice?
No, and I've heard the argument that, well, Chase has Burrow and Jefferson has Cousins. Like, Cousins can't support Jefferson. Like, what? He can't support Jefferson. 1,400 yards as a rookie, 1,600 yards as a sophomore, 1,800 yards last year. I think he's had 7 or more touchdowns every single year. Like, where does this argument come from? It's like like my mind can't handle this argument. It makes no sense. Kirk Cousins can absolutely support Justin Jefferson. He's the best wide receiver in football, best wide receiver in fantasy, best wide receiver in Dynasty.
Anyone who's making that argument is either a Bengals fan or maybe a Packers fan because they just hate the Vikings, or they're bitter because they don't have Justin Jefferson on their Dynasty team. I don't know. So that means number two is got to be Ja'Marr Chase. I don't think there's really anybody else really in play for this spot either.
No, I agree. He's a clear number two, and he is tied to Burrow, and at least you could feel better about Burrow long term, I guess, than Cousins. But he's only 7 months younger than Justin Jefferson, even though he came into the league a year later. So clear number two, but can't put him over Jefferson.
No, but if you got Ja'Marr Chase, you're pretty happy. And sometimes people will throw out trade suggestions or offers, questions to us, Justin Jefferson for this, that, whatever, and it's a no. Ja'Marr Chase, would you take that? No. I don't want draft picks. I don't want this, that guy. I don't care. I'm keeping a guy who's a stud, elite receiver, and only 23 years old. Now, number three wide receiver, both agree here again, it's got to be CeeDee Lamb, just a year older than Ja'Marr Chase. What do you expect of Lamb this coming season?
Well, if you saw my must-have video, I expect a huge season from CeeDee Lamb this year. I expect his best year yet. He's an elite receiver in a great offense, tied to Dak Prescott, still very, very young. If you got CeeDee Lamb, you got to be feeling great in Dynasty.
CeeDee Lamb is a guy that has got that talent to be close to, maybe even match Ja'Marr Chase in terms of fantasy. And a lot of people think, are the Cowboys really capable of doing more as far as the passing game than they did last year? Some people think with Kellen Moore gone, maybe Lamb actually takes a little step back. Totally disagree there. I'm with you. Lamb, we maybe have not seen the best he can do yet. And again, only 24. Here's where we shake things up just a little bit. Number four, you're going with A.J. Brown. Tell me why.
Still a stud wide receiver, still relatively young. But this shows the difference between the wide receivers and the running back landscape right now. If you watch our top 12 running back video, A.J. Brown, the third oldest wide receiver on my list, and he's not even 26 years old right now. There is so much young wide receiver talent. But this guy's an absolute stud. He's tied to Jalen Hurts in a great offense. Not really much you can't like about him. He has week winning upside every single week, so got him here at 4.
Yeah, and you'll hear that theme a lot too. Being tied to a stud quarterback, very important. But despite the fact it's not official yet, and we don't know how long Aaron Rodgers will play, I'm going Garrett Wilson of the Jets because I think we've already seen that he is a number one guy, but also I wouldn't be surprised if he, this coming year, can match numbers of guys like A.J. Brown, like CeeDee Lamb. I mean, look at just some of the games he put up last year with whatever you want to call that hot garbage at quarterback that the Jets had. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is coming here, and then whoever else they have next year, he is going to be a guy who commands a huge target share, and he's got the age advantage on the rest of the guys, most of the rest of the guys we're going to mention. So I'm putting Garrett Wilson this high already. It probably feels a little bold, but I'm confident. And you got him just one spot behind, Garrett Wilson, number 5. Tell me about him.
Yeah, everything you said. Young, a stud. Should have Aaron Rodgers at least this year, but definitely some uncertainty going forward. But he's so good, it probably won't matter. Just got him one spot behind A.J. Brown because A.J. Brown, like a wide receiver, unlike running back, you can put up elite years. 30, 31 years old, you can still be putting up elite years. So knowing that I'm going to get 5 to 6 years of elite A.J. Brown So it makes me feel slightly better about Garrett Wilson.
So at number 5, I'm going with guy exact same age, same experience, Chris Olave. And this is somebody we knew was going to be good coming out. And again, showed flashes, but kind of faded down the stretch. Did have that injury that cut his season short. I'd say at least they have some sort of direction. Derek Carr, is kind of a whatever option at quarterback, but we know he can support high-end wide receivers. And at least there's some stability here in this passing offense now. Olave's got the talent. He's got the age advantage. I'm putting him this high, even though I think it might take another year before he completely unlocks his potential. Next up, we're each going with a Dolphin, but different ones. All right, so Tyreek Hill here, probably going to be the oldest guy on your list, but you think he deserves a spot.
Yeah, when I was making the list, I was trying to think, if somebody offered me a player that I have ranked below him, would I move Tyreek Hill for that player? And I just can't do it because he just turned 29. And we've seen guys like Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins recently in their age 30 season, even their age 31 season, still be elite. And Tyreek Hill is so good. He could be a top 5 receiver for the next 2 to 3 years. And for me, that's enough to keep him here. It's hard to project Dynasty 4 years, 5 years, 6 years out. If I can get 3 more years of top 5, top 3 production from Tyreek Hill, I'll take it.
I can't disagree there. I'm going with Jaylen Waddle, though. Obviously, age is the difference here. There are a lot of games, if you think about it, last season when the Dolphins were putting up big numbers, and those guys were basically comparable. You get Hill and Waddle both going for like $150 and a touchdown, and I'm thinking about it. If they can be pretty close for the most part right now, I'm getting that huge age advantage. I feel good about Waddle. As long as Tua stays healthy, that connection is going to stay golden for years to come. All right, now next up, you're going with Chris Olave. What do you think he's going to do with Derek Carr under center?
I think he'll be great, and I like Chris Olave a lot. He was my top wide receiver, going into the draft last year. Loved what he showed in year 1. I think he's going to be fantastic for his career. But again, if somebody had offered me Chris Olave straight up for Tyreek Hill, I'm keeping Tyreek Hill. Just because I can win, 2 or 3 championships in a row with Tyreek Hill coming up. I'm not sure Chris Olave will ever get to that level that Tyreek Hill is at. So love Chris Olave. Just feel like Tyreek Hill has that little bit more upside that I'm looking for.
I guess I take kind of a different approach here because if you checked out the running back rankings, I just kind of view running back as more disposable, so uncertain. These rankings change so much year after year. I'd rather have the guy I feel better about this coming year and then figure it out. At wide receiver, we know these guys are going to be good for years, so I'm putting a much bigger emphasis on youth. And so that's why, instead of A.J. Brown or Tyreek Hill, I'm putting Devonta Smith here. He's shown, again, kind of like the situation in Miami, where it's like Hill and Waddle are pretty close. I know Hill's still a little better, but Waddle's got this big age advantage. Same thing. It's not a big advantage, but Devonta Smith, younger, less injury prone, I guess, than you can say for A.J. Brown. So I'm putting Devonta Smith here. Looks like you like Devonta Smith about as much. You're going with him. Do you feel like A.J. Brown is still going to be significantly more targeted, or you think it's going to be a gap between these guys? Because you got Brown now 5 spots higher.
Yeah, I do think A.J. Brown will remain the number 1 target here, and he'll have those bigger weeks, which is why I have him higher. And right here, I've got 3 guys in a row here that are very close for me. They're all about the same age. They're all great. I just have a soft spot for Devonta Smith. I was really high on him coming out of the draft. I thought people were way too low on him because he was skinny. I love that he, balled out last year and was awesome. He's tied to Jalen Hurts. So the next 2 guys below him, you could talk me into any order. I just put him highest because he's my guy.
Yeah, can't argue the talent there. Put up one of the best receiver seasons in NCAA history en route to winning the Heisman. So here's where I go Tyreek Hill. Can't have him too far down. No concerns here. It's just the fact that he's almost 30. Again, I'm not going to really argue if you say that Tyreek Hill should be top 5. I love him, especially in Miami. So Tyreek Hill, I'm good with him here. Now, number 9, you're going Jaylen Waddle. talk to me about Waddle. Any concerns with him? I mean, what if something does happen to Tua? You still feel like he's going to stand out as a stud receiver?
I think so. I'm not nearly as worried about Tua now that the Dolphins picked up his fifth-year option, $24 million guaranteed. But Waddle, like I said, Devonta Smith, Waddle, and the next guy, they're very interchangeable for me. They're all pretty much the same age, all very talented. If you want to argue Waddle ahead of Devonta Smith, that's fine with me. They're all great players here.
Yeah, and one of those guys, and we're going to talk about Tee Higgins, about the same age, obviously a stud. The fact that he's the number 2 guy, I guess, in the Bengals offense. But is he really? I mean, he's on the field, it seems like, is more than Jamar Chase sometimes. And when Chase has been out, Higgins has stepped up. And he's tied to Joe Burrow. I mean, I would rather have another guy on an elite offense sharing the field with a great receiver than somebody who's on an inferior team with a lesser quarterback who's getting more targets. Let's follow up on that with Tee Higgins for you at number 10.
Yep, I'm going to say it again. You could talk me into any order of these 3 guys. Devonta Smith, Jaylen Waddle, Tee Higgins. All about the same age. All studs. All in great situations. I just like the other 2 more.
There you go. I mean, we're splitting hairs at this point. All these guys are great. Now, number 10, finally, A.J. Brown makes an appearance on my list. I don't have any problem with him. Again, it's just the slight age gap, and also the fact Brown does tend to be a little more inconsistent, does tend to get dinged up a little bit more here and there. But all told, I got no problem with A.J. Brown. He's still a top receiver for me. Now, if you're wondering when the Sun God would appear, here it is. Number 11, you're going Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I can't put him super high. I think some people are a little too high on him in Dynasty. My issue is he's never going to be more than what he is. He's going to be a guy who probably gets a ton of targets, probably catches a bunch of passes, but will never have those huge touchdown seasons where he can crack top 5. But still, he's 23 years old. He's very talented, so got him in the top 12 still.
Love the Sun God too. I'm going with him next. But first, I have to talk about DK Metcalf, who I will admit 2 years ago was my number 1 Dynasty receiver. I mean, this guy has all the physical tools that you could want. Now, is he being used as much as I'd like? No, gonna be honest, he hasn't been. I'm not sure if that will change. Talked about this when we mentioned Kenneth Walker and running backs. This offense is pretty much going to be the same. I think DK Metcalf has shown what he's going to be, which is a solid, but maybe not mega star in Dynasty. But still, this is a guy who is only 25 years old. At least we know he is the number 1 receiver on a good team. I mean, I just have a soft spot, I guess, for him too. And then at number 12 goes Stefon Diggs. Now, Diggs in redraft is going to be a lot higher. Why is he so low in Dynasty?
Because he's old. That's really it. He's old. He's going to enter age 30 at the end of this season. But like I said, elite wide receivers can still be good at age 30, age 31, maybe even age 32. So if I can get 2 to 3 more elite years of Stefon Diggs, I thought about DK Metcalf here because you do get that age difference, but I just don't feel like DK Metcalf has that weekly upside that Stefon Diggs has because he's stuck with Geno Smith and who knows what's going to be after that. So Diggs slightly over Metcalf.
And I don't even have Diggs or Devontae Adams, which feels odd, but I'm rounding out my list with Amon-Ra St. Brown. We already talked about it. He is a target hog there. Some people worried about Jameson Williams. Maybe he should even be higher. No, he'll be good. But for now, until it's proven otherwise, St. Brown is the number 1 receiver there. And they're still going to pass it quite a bit. I don't think that defense is going to be significantly better next year. So he has a type of reliable production that I want from a young receiver. If you didn't catch our top 12 running back rankings for Dynasty, here it is.